Ladies and gentlemen, we're starting our day with a wonderful panel between four very different individuals that are looking at education from a very important angle, but a different angle. And I want you to give them a huge welcome. You know, they say that according to research again, that one of the greatest fears of mankind is public speaking. It comes in second after the fear of snakes, for some reason. The fear of death only scares, very few people, but the coming on stage is very scary. So I'm going to introduce our wonderful panelists, and I want you to give them a huge, warm welcome. Is that possible? Can you do that for me? Yes. So please welcome on stage the Director for Innovation, International Cooperation and Sport at DigiEAC, Antoaneta Angelova-Krasteva. Welcome. Finland's own Minister of Education, Lee Anderson. Welcome. A student from our own university, Aalto University, Lumi Ketola. Tervetuloa. And all the way from Croatia, a wonderful teacher, Ariana Blazic. Do we have microphones for you guys? Okay, we do. My God, what a bonus. All of this money invested and we get 2 microphones. That's fantastic. I'm going to give, fantastic. Yes. Here you go. All right. Listen, I have to tell you that I'm not a great fan of panels, but I know we can do this in a way that is really, really cool and interesting. So I'm going to start off with a little bit of a provocative question to you. I know you're very, very busy people. Why did you want to come here? Why did you want to participate in this panel? You probably had a lot of busy schedules, but this seemed to be so important that you wanted to spend all this time with us today. Can you tell us why you wanted to come? You could take the microphone and then. Yes. Yeah, but please, Antoinette. Yeah.
Morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Is it on?
Is it on?
I think.
Yes? Okay. Good morning, everyone. First of all, I'm really happy to be here. Just to be very quick answering your question, coming from the Commission, part of my job. But personally,
well,
I'm really passionate about education, and secondly, about digital technologies. And this event, the first DigiEduHack, is a wonderful opportunity, actually, to bring together people to work together, coming to common solutions to common problems. So I'm really fascinated and excited about this event.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm here because this is a huge topic if you think about educational policy. And I notice it everywhere I go. It's a huge topic here in Finland, and it's a huge topic also on a European level. And I also feel that there's still, I think, some misconceptions and misunderstandings that also needs to be addressed when we talk about digitalization in education.
As a student, I'm obviously very interested in education. But perhaps even more importantly, since we have directors and ministers and teachers on this table, it is only right that we also have a student here.
Yes, what do you think about that? Yes.
And good morning, everyone. I'm a teacher and I love technology. I have been using technology in my teaching for many, many years now, and I have seen that it works really, really well. And I also believe in creativity of my students and students all over the world, as well as of the creativity of teachers. So that's why I'm here, to support them so that they show their creativity and find solutions to our challenges.
Thank you. Let's give them all a hand for being here. I think they're very well motivated. Thank you so very much. Let's start with you, Lumi. You're the one who has the freshest contact to being a student. Tell us about your journey here at Aalto and journey as a student and how digitalization has transformed that journey or changed that journey for you.
Yes, when I think about digitalization as a student, there are 3 things that come to my mind. Firstly, of course, the kind of everyday things of being a student in a course. You're taking a course and there's some sort of digital tools being used in that course. That's like every course. But it depends from course to course, from teacher to teacher, how they're using. Some use bare minimum and some like make it into an art form. It doesn't matter so much to me which part is like the teacher's choice, as long as it's done well and it's thought out. Because we can tell, students can tell when the course is like thought out and planned well, and it really motivates us as well. Then second point is like all these distractions. Digital age is so full of distractions, and when I was a kid in school, we didn't have phones yet. So I have sort of now grown into, oh dear, there is like my phone is there all the time, and can I look at Twitter or something?
I know.
Yeah, so like have to learn how to focus. And I think it's not just students, everyone needs to learn that. And then finally, accessibility. Digitalization can make things more accessible, but they can also make them less accessible and less inclusive. So I think when thinking about these things and when making decisions, when we need to make sure that everyone is in the loop.
Thank you, Lumi, for that. And a lot of what you said will be part of the hacks and the hacks that we will be having over the next 24 hours. That'll be touching to a lot of the issues you've raised. Thank you very much for those. If I can take Antoinetta, there's a big plan at the European level. It's called, as I mentioned in my introduction, the Digital Education Action Plan of the European Commission. Where are we with this? In terms of the impact achieved so far, and in terms of the policy and its action moving forward. Where are we?
Yeah, first of all, as you understood already, the DigiEduHack is part of this Digital Education Action Plan. So this is a policy initiative which focuses the attention at the highest political level on education and how to adapt education to the ongoing digital transformation. It is extremely important because it's part of a bigger initiative in Europe to create a European education area. And we've started the plan one and a half years ago. We are happy to say that we are well advanced with its implementation, as we see many of the actions already implemented or well on track, even beyond our first expectations. But just a few words, if you allow me, for the plan to put things in context.
Yes.
The first thing is what we would like to achieve with this plan, because at European level we are thinking about the progress to be achieved across Europe. And we would like to help all member states, but also the educational institutions across Europe, be more digital, be more innovative. But more importantly, through the plan, we would like to make sure that the Europeans have the digital skills they need actually to live in today's world and be prepared for the unknown future. You already mentioned we don't know what kind of jobs we're going to have in 10, 15, 20 years. So we wanted with the plan to be really very focused. Sometimes the European initiatives might be comprehensive with quite a lot of actions and objectives. But with regard to this plan, we really wanted to take a very focused approach and focusing on three major challenges. Actually, the use of technologies, how to make sure that there is a meaningful, purposeful use of digital technologies in schools for teaching and learning, how to make sure that we develop the skills for people across all ages, but for schools as well, including, that they will need in the future. And also how to make sure that we can use better data analysis and foresight to improve education in the future. And we are really very happy to see that these three objectives resonate very well. They are well reflected in some of the challenges to be solved through this hack. So we are very much looking forward to the event today. Allow me three things which are really flagship initiatives which have been implemented over the past 1.5 years, and we are really very proud of the results so far. The first one has the very nice name called selfie. Selfie, yeah?
Yeah, I
what
read
does
about
this
that.
mean,
Yeah,
selfie?
that was-
This is a self-assessment
You're being
tool.
distracted again at the European Commission.
Oh, no. We are trying to really use all the innovation and creativity existing across Europe and beyond. So Selfie is it's a tool which is for self-assessment of schools, where they stand with the use of digital technologies. So what do they get? They get a snapshot, how good they are in terms of use of technologies, what they need to improve. And this is done through collecting the views and opinions of teachers, students, and also student leaders. And it's really very important to make sure that there is a comprehensive view in order to know how to go ahead. Another flagship initiative, which is actually starting this week, this is the EU Code Week. So what is it? It is about developing the computing skills for people from all ages, but of course putting a lot of emphasis on young people. And this initiative started EU Code Week 7 years ago. I have to mention that only last year 2 million people were reached in 70 countries through 44,000 activities. And one last event I would like to mention, because it's hugely important. When we use digital technologies, we have to be aware of the threats, the online threats. And this is important for people from all ages, but especially for young people who are extremely vulnerable. Therefore, we started another campaign. It's an awareness-raising campaign for the Safer Internet for EU. We started it last year, and only last year we had already 1 million participants of students, young people, teachers and parents. So these are 3 examples of concrete actions we've implemented as part of this action plan. We've had really very good outreach to students, teachers, but also more widely to people. And we are very happy and looking forward to continue implementing the plan. This hack is an important contribution to the plan. We are very much looking to the creative and innovative ideas it will come up with.
I love the selfie.
Yeah.
You're so hip. But Lee Anderson, I mean, looking at this plan from a Finnish perspective, well, how do you see this plan from your angle?
Well, I think the plan addresses many of the issues that are discussed also on a national level. I mean, security of the internet, for example, digital skills for people of all ages, very important. When I think about the educational field, especially, of course, I mean, it's self-evident that digital skills, as we already heard, I mean, we are already living in a digital society. We are already living in a digital economy. So, of course, it's crucial that students also learn digital skills because it's something that you need to learn in the 21st century. But apart from that, I think what I wanted to emphasize in terms of the educational policy and educational field, I know that many teachers and educators are thinking, what time and with what skills do I teach digital skills when I'm facing challenges, taking care that all the students learn basic skills, reading, math, writing. I think every European country is grasping this challenge of how to make sure that we have equality in education so that we really can make sure that all kids get strong enough basic skills while in school. So what I've been trying to say is that we need digital learning environments also for teaching kids basic skills. So it's not just about the digital skill sets, it's about new types of learning environments and new types of methods for making sure that all kids also get a strong enough set of basic skills. And I think this is one misconception in terms of digitalization in education that I've addressed many times.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And that is a great introduction to my next question to you, Ariana. How has digitalization affected the profession of the teacher, and especially given what Minister Anderson just said, the balance there, is that an issue? How do you deal with that?
Well, I think teachers all over Europe and beyond are very, very happy and lucky that we have all these opportunities, within the digital action plan. And we understand that it is, of course, we can't prepare our students for the future in a world full of technology without having access to technology. So I think it is important that we have schools that are well equipped, but more importantly, that teachers know how to use technology meaningfully, so that they know to use it to help students develop new skills, so that they use technology to prepare students to be problem solvers, to be critical thinkers, to be creative thinkers. And this is what we need. Teachers all over Europe need support in professional development, how to use technology effectively. Because sometimes schools prioritize technology over pedagogy, and professional development is critical to bridge this gap.
Well, thank you for that. And coming back to what you said, Lee, on your commentary on the plan, and going maybe a little bit deeper on, digitalization, a blessing, a curse in education. What kind of guidance can we get to find the right balance there?
Well, I think what the teacher just said here is important, that you always think about, technology is a means, and digital learning environments should be a tool for teachers. So it's a means in terms of teaching certain sets of skills for the kids. And I know that there's a lot of good work also being done in terms of developing different types of digital learning materials who are directed, for example, to kids with learning problems. So that we really also can diversify the way we teach in a way so it would suit more or suit different students and different pupils better than now. I think if you want to talk about curses, the one I would mention is I hate this saying, that the phrase that you sometimes see in Finnish debates where they say that the kids nowadays are digi-natives, which is untrue. We have a lot of research showing that actually the level of skills in terms of digital learning environments and digital skills among kids, there's a huge variety and a huge inequality. And you really can see differences also in terms of backgrounds. For example, all kids do not come from families who have computers at home. So I think this is one misconception that we also need to address, so that we can ensure that we also have like a equality as a basis for what we teach when we teach kids how to navigate in a digital world.
Given your background in human rights, I can see that's where you see it. And I think maybe access to digitalization and digital tools should be that kind of right for every European citizen. That's a very good point.
I just wanted to say that this is the role of the teacher in the digital world. So we have to show them how to use technology for learning, because they use it in their everyday life, but not for educational purposes. So that's also one important role of the teacher today.
And the parent. I know, my God, it's a challenge. Yes, yes.
As I think the role of teachers is really important also to think about how do we support teachers in their work. In Finland, for example, there's been this peer-to-peer training program where the idea is that teachers also teach each other when it comes to using digital learning environments, digital skill sets. So although we cannot provide training for every teacher in every school, the teachers that do participate from a certain school can then do peer-to-peer training in their own schools, so that we can spread knowledge as effectively as possible among teachers.
That, and also innovative practices. Everything teachers do in their classrooms usually remains within the four walls of the classroom. But digital technology enables us to break down the walls and to scale the innovation, to implement innovative practices across multiple schools and multiple school systems, education systems. So I think it is important to give teachers the opportunity to show what they do in their classrooms.
Going back to the plan, Antoinette, it's an 11-point plan. It's a very hefty plan, and looking at education throughout life, and to create this idea of equality for children, of course, from different families, but also throughout life, and with this challenge that we need to re-equip the entire population with digital skills. That's one of the actually challenges that we have today, that we will be working on very, very intensively throughout the world today. How does the plan take this into consideration?
I would like first to react to some of the comments made by the other speakers, and actually to agree with the need to address basic skills, and to once again underline that through this digital education, we are actually trying to develop also basic skills. It's about creativity, it's about problem-solving capabilities, about communication and collaboration. And actually all these initiatives aim to address these issues. So looking at the plan, I already said we've been implementing it for one and a half year, and we have 1.5 years more because the plan is until the end of next year. So it's something really important to clarify that we decided to focus primarily on formal education, schools, but we know that we have to go beyond this because the needs for digital education goes much wider, and it addresses the needs of people from all ages and different backgrounds. At political level, both education is high on the agenda, as well digitization and how to address the need for digital education. It's been already in the political guidance of the president-elect of the Commission, but also the future commissioner in charge of education and innovation and youth, who will address these issues. So there is a clear mandate to work on the plan, and the idea is to go much wider, to be more comprehensive. A few issues that I would like to address and will continue looking at. It is the accessibility to infrastructure and materials, because we know infrastructure is not everything, but without having access to broadband or to connectivity or to digital devices, then we cannot also use the opportunities created by digital technologies. So this is something we're going to look at. We'll continue working towards improving the digital skills, and here particularly we are thinking of how to use informatics, computer science, in order to teach young people, but also people from different ages, to equip them with the basic skills, creative thinking, but also the skills they need for their future professions. And online materials. It's hugely important to make sure that these online materials are of high quality and accessible to as many people as possible.
Thank you. I just took a picture of you guys. I'm in the competition for the hashtag competition today.
Might I?
Please.
Yes, just that you mentioned continuous learning there, and I think that has a very continuous learning and then digital education. They kind of mix very nicely in that. Traditionally at university you sit at a lecture room from like 10 to 12, but like people in work life that's not possible, so then digital education comes nicely into the play of like I can learn where I want and when it is easy for me to do that. So that's a nice part.
I've taken an AI course online. Fantastic. Recommend it to everybody. Thank you for those wonderful questions and answers and discussions, but we have a rich tradition in this university of an open forum. So we have a fat 14 minutes where I would like you, ladies and gentlemen, to stand up and take a crack at our panel with your question or concern. Any volunteers? It's yes. So we have two. We have a microphone. We have additional microphones. We do have a third microphone. Ian, yes. Perhaps I can give you this one. Yeah. Yes. Here we go. Oh. Tell us who you are and your question, please.
Hello. My name is Tina. Is that enough? Or
that's enough.
Okay.
Tina with a question. Tell us.
You have been mentioning that like lifelong learning and all ages, and I wanted to ask if this European plan has any like specific things to focus on, also education of older people with digital skills. or is it like, is there something that is focused on especially the older?
Talked about it, but yeah, please take that and then you can. Thank you.
This is something we can further address in the years to come. Definitely, we work in improving upskilling and reskilling, actually. People who were not elderly people, but I would say people at different age. We, for example, with the EU Code Week, are open to people from all ages, not only school and young people. Though we work primarily with schools, we would like to reach out as many people as possible, given the importance of young generation, but definitely we work also for elderly people and people from different ages. Long-learn perspective is something which is highly important, and we want to make sure that digital literacy is a foundation for all.
Thank you. Could you give the microphone to your colleague right here? Sir, tell us who you are and your question, please.
Hi, I'm Gergely. I'm from Hungary, and my question would be to the Director of Innovation on how does this action plan actually look like in practice? For example, in a country like Hungary, where digital education is much less developed than in Finland, is there some people actually on the ground teaching teachers and bringing in equipment, or is it more of like a guideline?
May I? Okay. We have a framework of cooperation. As you know, I mean, education is a prerogative of the member states. And what the Commission is doing is actually supporting the efforts of member states. So we work with member states and the various educational institutions where we bring the various practices and they can learn of what's already existing. We have these EU practices and campaigns and initiatives, including the DigiEduHack. It will be interesting to see how Hungary participates. And for many of these initiatives, we also work with volunteers. Some of the initiatives, the EU Code Week, is based on a grassroots initiative where the Commission is only providing support. So it's interesting afterwards to see, compare, and to make sure that member states learn from each other. These are the four to do so.
Thank you. More questions, comments? Sir.
Hello, I'm Yusuf, and I have a question for Ariana. So you mentioned that you've noticed how wonderful technology can be in the classroom, but I was wondering about, for example, your colleagues at your school. Do they all have kind of a perspective to technology, or maybe are some of them not as accepting? And is that a school-wide policy maybe to just force technology on the teachers so they understand it?
Well, thank you for your question. I don't think that forcing anyone into using technology would be a good idea. But of course, as in every school, there are early adopters, I would say, who motivate and inspire other teachers to join. So when I first started using technology, I was the only one at my school. But nowadays, you know, there are almost 3/3 of my colleagues work with technology, use it in their everyday teaching, connect with other students, connect students with their peers from all over the world. So I think if you start, even if you are the only one at a school or at an organization, you should, you know, it will happen eventually. So you will inspire your colleagues to do it as well.
I love technology. When seeing my son, he's 12 years old, and he plays a game called Fortnite. Does anybody know this game? You know this game, yeah. And it's great to see him with his hat. You know, he's 12 years old, and he's coordinating an attack in Finnish, English, and French. Oh, no. Lopeta jo! You know, he's like, and he's using all these languages and strategic skills, and he's having a great time, and he's speaking 3 languages at the same time with the people all over Europe and the world. There are good sides to this. So yes. More questions. We have another 5 minutes. I know that. Yes. Tell us who you are.
Thank you. My name is Anna. I just want to make maybe challenging in your thoughts. We are talking about digitalization, and I will give something that is my experience. I see that many times like 20 years ago, we have a teacher with a blackboard and chalk. And nowadays you see some teachers with PowerPoint presentations, but the model of education is the same. And I think this to the new generations is extremely boring. They don't handle this model anymore. They cannot stay 4 hours in a classroom. So what I would like to hear from you is like how the model of education will change, or if we are just bringing the technology inside of the same model.
It's a big question. I think it's relevant to all of you. Who would like to take a crack at it first?
Okay. I'll start as a teacher.
Yes.
From the trenches. Yes, it is important, as I said, that we teach the teachers how to use it effectively, because technology cannot be used just to replace traditional methods. So technology should be used to augment the learning and the teaching process. And this, for example, nowadays at teacher training universities, we young teachers, student teachers have they receive formal education in how to use technology effectively. But when I was at university, and I'm sure many teachers would agree with me, we never received any formal education about it. So I think professional development is critical. And it will help teachers understand that PowerPoint is not really very innovative.
I would say, I mean, teaching models do change also, and I think most countries do develop their curricula all the time. But if you think about the teaching model, then I think it's important to have, I mean, the ground for why you change and what you change and how you develop, there you need to have teaching and pedagogics in the focus. So I would not start by changing the curricula because of technology, but changing because, for example, in Finland, there's been much more emphasizing now on learning to learn. So learning skills, and then you use digital materials as a means of teaching to achieve this aim. But I would not go the other way around, because I think then you will find yourself in a situation where you let technology kind of come first before pedagogic.
Tagging on to that learning to learn, I think this digitalization gives us a great opportunity to take into account different learners. Some do learn best by sitting in the lecture room and watching the teacher speak, but others like to get more hands-on. And I think this is where we can serve everyone and learn how people learn.
Yeah, just to add to this, as I said before, if you think about pupils who have maybe difficulties learning in the traditional classroom situations, I think there's a multitude of possibilities that really good digital learning methods and learning environments open up. I also visited a Finnish school this week where they had a room designed to kind of calm pupils down. If there are students who have kind of bigger issues and also a need for more support than others, and they used digital methods also in designing this room, and I think it was a really interesting way of seeing how you can use digitalization to achieve goals in terms of pedagogics that really kind of changes the whole situation and also like brings in a whole new set of opportunities into schools.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just to underline the importance and give a bit of European perspective, because indeed it's important to have this innovative pedagogy, not only acquiring the digital skills or innovation skills. What is really important to make sure is, given that there are various examples, various experiments even made by member states to bring this experience and knowledge together and to provide the framework opportunities to learn from each other, the different countries from the different practice, and actually put in place what will work best for the individual cases. One thing I would like to underline, the importance of actually improving the capacity at school level, at university level, the innovative and entrepreneurial capacity. And that takes time. And there are various initiatives to address it, but it doesn't happen overnight. So this is really a lot of work going on.
Thank you. Listen, I was inspired by one thing that Antoinette, you said, and this is one digital skill that I learned and that you inspired me. It's called the selfie. Before, I'm going to ask you one final question, but before I ask it, since you talked about the selfie, could you guys get together? All right. Okay, can we? You looking? Yes, I got it. Selfie. And it's also an EC acronym. Wonderful. One last question, and this is relevant to all of us who are participating in UltraHack. Let's say you have your UltraHack people here. From each one of you, for the next 24 hours, they're going to try to crack 5 big challenges, a lot of which you have raised in the panel. Give your piece of advice to these teams. What for the next 24 hours? Your piece of advice to the teams for the next 24 hours. Please.
Okay, please. Be creative and come with the best solutions within the next 24 hours. Stay focused and have a great fun. Make this experience a life experience.
Thank you. Lee Anderson.
I would say focus on the equality aspect, because that's a real challenge that the teachers are facing in the classroom. What do you do? How do you use the digital learning environments if the basis of skills of the students are on a very different level?
Have fun.
Let your imagination run wild. Take risks and make mistakes.
Thank you for all this wisdom. Thank you for being here. Give a huge hand to our panelists, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. Thank you. So exciting.